Thank you both for coming back. We had a little opportunity to stretch a little, go outside a little bit. Good. So we're going to continue here. As you can see, we have moved the chair so that you're facing each other. As we mentioned at the beginning, in this part of the mediation, we invite you to have a direct dialogue with each other. So that's part of the reason why it makes it easier if you're facing each other. So this is your opportunity to ask each other questions about anything you've heard so far or anything that has come to mind, to clarify anything that you want, and to try to really understand the other person's perspective as much as possible. So we're going to get you started with a question, but we then also want to create the space for you to ask each other questions or just have a dialogue. So we may not say anything if we don't need to, but we're still here facilitating the discussion and watching the space. So David is going to start us out with a question.
Yes, and this question is for Ariana. When you were considering moving in with Laura, what was it about her that made the situation attractive?
Well, she seemed nice and normal. I was looking at a lot of places, and there were a lot of people that, I just got red flags about, and so she seemed like a nice person, and, she seemed mature and responsible, and I liked the apartment, and I thought even we might be friends. She seemed friendly. Yeah.
So one other thing I forgot to mention in my preamble is that this is a chance for you to talk directly to one another. So instead of, and this feels awkward because we were just talking to us, and we're asking you the questions, so please feel free to address each other. So instead of saying she seemed, and you seemed, and go ahead.
Right, and we'll kind of remind you, just non-verbally too, if we need to, just because it is, you were just speaking to us. So.
Okay, yeah. So you want me to?
Yeah, you can rephrase that if you like.
Okay. So yeah, when we first met, you were friendly and you seemed nice and normal, which was refreshing because there's a lot of not, I don't want to say not normal, but it wouldn't work for me. And it seemed like you were somebody I could be friends with, and you seemed mature and reasonable and responsible. So yeah, and I really liked the apartment and the space and the location, and it just seemed like it would be a really good fit. I was excited.
I think I was too initially. I don't know exactly what you mean by normal, but I think when we first met, it felt really comfortable. Even though we didn't know each other that well, it did feel like it felt comfortable right away. And it wasn't until maybe a week or so in that I started to really notice how differently we live.
And so Laura, before you go there, I'd like you to pause a little bit. Is there anything that you would say to Ariana about what was it about her and the living situation that made you decide to move in with her?
I think it was similar that you seemed like somebody easy to live with. The first time we met, I thought you were really funny. You said something that just made me laugh, and that was nice. And it seemed to work for both of us where the apartment was, and just both of us where we need to go. It seemed like things just aligned really well for us to move in and occupy this space together. I think that's how I experienced that initially.
And you mentioned that you said that Ariana felt comfortable to live with that.
Yeah.
What was it about living with her at first that felt comfortable, if you could tell her?
Like I said, I think you were funny, which it's refreshing to be around somebody that's funny, because in my work, nobody's funny. It's serious work, and people are very serious when they're there. And then when I go to school, folks are serious there as well, and it just felt kind of refreshing to be around somebody that had a different energy, if you will, that, you made me laugh right away, which felt nice, and not something that I get enough of in my life, I think. Is that sort of like a breath of fresh air almost.
Are there some questions that are kind of rising to the surface for you that you have of each other? Or things that you want to clarify with each other?
Yeah. Yeah, I do have questions. Like, should I just jump in and just ask?
Sure. That's what this is for.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm curious. Like, when I tried to talk to you about this, I'm curious. Like, why? Like, what happened? Like, why? To me, it seemed like you shut down and didn't want to talk. So I'm wondering why we couldn't talk about this.
I think it was the timing. The two times that I remember that you approached me, both times were at the end of a tremendously long day for me, and I really felt like I, in that moment, did not have the capacity to really hash out what had been going on. Also, I guess to be honest, I was feeling a little bit resentful because now that you're ready to talk, I'm supposed to be ready. Whereas the times when I had approached you, you just kind of brushed me off like, oh, I'll get to it. And I guess I was feeling a little bit resentful that we talk when you're ready, but not when I'm ready, if that makes sense. That's how it felt anyway. Those things combined together is what I was feeling in those moments.
Ariana, what did you hear? If you could reflect back what you heard and then respond.
Yeah, well, I heard her say that.
I heard you.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I heard you say that when I wanted to talk, it was bad timing, you weren't ready, and that you felt resentful that you believed that when you tried to talk to me, I just was dismissive and brushed it off, and that you resented that when it was good for me to talk, that you should just be ready to talk. Yeah, combined with really bad timing.
That was accurate. I see you're nodding.
Yeah,
Is that
no,
accurate?
that's exactly right. Yeah, that's how it felt.
Is there any questions that rise to the surface for you to ask Ariana at this point in time?
I guess I would be curious to know, I heard you say earlier when we were speaking, not to each other, that you grew up sort of living in an environment where things look very different. And I guess I'm just curious if you had ever thought about how lifestyle differences might impact another person. I mean, I guess if you're used to being around people that kind of live in the way that you do, I don't know if you've ever given thought to somebody that maybe is coming at their lifestyle preferences a little bit differently.
Well, it's interesting. As you say that question, like what comes up in me is like, I have the same question for you. Yes, obviously we have really different styles and what we consider clean and how we'd like our home to be. But yeah, like the way that I live is what's been normal for me. And I'm hearing that that's not your norm. And I'm, in hearing you speak earlier, like I'm understanding the effect that has on you. And I really get, like, you don't want to have to clean dishes before you cook, right? Like, I hadn't actually considered that. So I'm hearing more. And I'm wondering, like, the same for you. Like, I guess I'm feeling like somehow, like, there's this sense that, like, your way is right and my way is wrong. And that doesn't feel really good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like you have a lot of rules of how you want things to be and that you think that I should follow those, even though we haven't talked about that.
And I think that's the thing that I'm struggling with, is that it seems like you have no rules. So I wasn't quite sure, how to be. So I thought, I'm just going to make sure I'm taking care of my stuff so that it doesn't get in your way. And that, you never have to give a thought to, oh, this pot is dirty, so now I can't cook my food. I guess I always have a lot of concern about, my stuff or my habits getting in somebody else's way. I grew up in a household where that was kind of prominent, where we really had to kind of work around the habits of some of the people. And I've just kind of adopted that as a lifestyle, that I need to be really conscious of how my habits might be affecting someone else. So I pull in, I guess you could say, I don't know, I'm just conscious of that. And then it felt like you were the opposite of that. And maybe it's because we've never talked about this, you know what I mean? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm wondering, are you saying that I'm inconsiderate?
It feels that way. I don't know if that's your intention, but it feels that way, where, you know, I come home and, you know, it sounds like we both have long days, and then I come home and I'm like, dang it, now I have to clean the kitchen before I can even cook myself dinner. That feels inconsiderate. Whether or not that's what your plan was, I don't know, but that's how it feels.
Well, it's not, I mean, I can say it's not intentional. Like, I'm not trying to irritate you or get in your way or interfere with your life. It's certainly not intentional. I guess I can see how you could see that as inconsiderate, but it's not like, I wasn't doing anything intentionally to upset you or affect your life. Yeah. I do have another question. Is it okay to ask another question?
Just pause for a second and ask Laura to reflect back what you just heard about her saying about the consideration issue. What did you hear?
That maybe that you don't realize that could be perceived as inconsiderate, and it wasn't what you were trying to do. It's just you're living your life, and you know, those impacts maybe that I'm experiencing aren't what you had meant. Is what I heard.
Did she hear that?
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Okay. So you said you had another question or
when you put my stuff on my bed in my room, I know you heard me talk about what that was like for me, and so I'm curious if you can like talk about that or explain that, or like what was happening that you ended up doing that, because for me that was really upsetting.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like it felt. I mean, I got a message. I mean, the message that I received was that you were really pissed off, but you know, you just did this thing where you dumped all my stuff on my bed. You went in my room and dumped on my bed, and with no communication about it.
Yeah.
So that was really surprising and upsetting, and it made me angry.
Yeah. I think that was coming at the end of probably 2 or 3 months of feeling dismissed when I would express a concern about stuff being everywhere or dishes not being clean. So I thought, okay, maybe this will serve as a reminder. If everything is in one place, kind of in somewhere where you're definitely going to see it, like, oh, okay, yeah, those weren't where they were supposed to be. So I think my thought was making that a reminder for you, like, yeah, I should put my stuff where it goes so that it's not everywhere. And I'll tell you, the day that I did that, I remember very clearly. I came home, I had this huge school project that I was working on, and I needed the table in the living room, and your crap was just everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And I thought, what am I going to do? So I scooped it all up and I put it in your room, because I thought, I'm going to let her deal with it. I'm not going to try to put it away.
Yeah, so, I mean, that honestly, that, I don't know if it's okay to say this, but that just seems ridiculous to me. Like, we're adults, and that just seems like something that adults don't do. And, I mean, I get that you were having a bad day, like, I have bad days too, but how would you feel if I just took stuff and dumped it on your bed?
Yeah, and I guess I would ask
would you mind talking about how that felt for you? What was the impact of that action on you? How did you feel?
I felt, again, the best way I can say is I felt like I was a child. I mean, I don't feel like a child, but I felt like I was, like almost being punished for breaking rules in a pretty aggressive way. And I mean, I felt surprised when I went in my room. I was upset and angry and frustrated that you went in there without my permission, because I would never do that to you. It was, it gave me a message, but in a way that felt really indirect for me. I mean, very indirect, and just doesn't work for me at all. And it actually, like, it made me angry at you and not like you. And I was also really confused. I just don't understand how an adult would just do that. Like, I hear you say that you thought it would be a reminder, but I'm having a hard time sort of buying that.
Well, I guess as I said, it was coming off of 3 months of feeling like when I would bring something to your attention, you would just blow it off. And I thought, I'm not sure what else to do here to bring this to your attention. And so I thought, when I sat down to do that school project, it was so frustrating that I couldn't even use the table because there was so much stuff just piled up on there. And I thought, I need to get this done. I'm going to scoop this stuff up, put it in your room, and let you deal with it versus figuring out what to do with it.
Were you angry when you did that?
I think I was more worried about how I was going to get my work done. And I tried to take a quick solution and I'm just going to get this out of the way so I can sit down and get my work done.
I just wanted to have Laura, if you would repeat back to Ariana about how she felt about that. What did you hear her say in terms of the feelings after you put her things on the bed? She felt like she was being punished. You felt like I was punishing you and that it was childish and that you weren't happy that I came into your room. That's what I heard.
Yeah, and I was angry at you.
I guess I would ask,
it felt disrespectful.
In that situation, what might you have done in that moment? If you were in my shoes trying to get home, do a big school project and found all my stuff piled up in the space where you wanted to do work, how would you have handled that maybe?
I think if I needed the space, I would have just moved it over, maybe a couch or a table, but I wouldn't have gone in your room. And I would have talked to you about it. If you weren't home, maybe I would have texted you and said, hey, I'm moving your stuff because I need to use a table. Or I just would have put it in a different spot. But like I wouldn't have dumped it on your bed. It felt very, confronting for me. Yeah.
That's fair. I think it was definitely born out of a frustrating months of feeling like I had asked you to clean this stuff up and it hadn't happened. And yeah, it definitely came from a place of frustration. And also, like I said, I'm already worried because I've got this project that I need to get done. And it's just the combination of these factors made me feel like I got to do something right now. And to be honest, I didn't see any other space where that could have been moved to. We don't have a lot of furniture, so I thought, this is the place where you'll see it, and then maybe...
Like you could have even just left it outside my door. You didn't have to go in my room and put it on my bed.
To me, that felt disrespectful. To put your stuff on the floor felt disrespectful. I don't know, something about putting things on the floor versus putting things on something felt different to me. I don't know, I appreciate the suggestion, but that to me would have felt even more rude to put stuff on the floor.
So,
go ahead. I just wanted to ask you if you're willing to reflect back what you heard, particularly anything new or any new insight about the intent of doing that.
Yeah, you said that you were under stress, you had a big project, you had already been frustrated for a period of time, and that you just wanted to clear up the space so you could work, and you thought this would be it sounds like, rather than put it somewhere else, like you couldn't find anywhere else to put it, and your first thought was just to put it on my bed so I could see it. Yeah.
And I think I also heard that you thought it would be more respectful to put it on the bed than to pile it on the floor in front of the door.
For me, that's how that felt. Yeah. I think I would have been upset if somebody had put my stuff on the floor versus putting it on something, and that's the thought process that I had.
Can you tell Laura, Ariana, what it felt like? The room distinction is pretty significant, and when she brought it into your room, what did that feel like as opposed to leaving it out? Because that's the difference.
Yeah, it felt like an invasion of privacy.
Invasion of privacy.
You also, as you said, you just scooped it up and dumped it. So it almost just felt like, here's your crap, as you said, here's your crap. It felt angry, it felt disrespectful. Yeah, it felt like an invasion of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I leave in the morning, which is early, you know, I close the door and I don't expect anybody else to go in there, you know.
So it would have felt better to you if I'd have just put it on the floor
Yeah.
in front of your door?
Yeah,
That's good to know.
yeah.
It's new
That
information.
doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laura, what did you hear about the going into the room? What was the difference in that for?
It felt like an invasion of privacy, that I was in space where I didn't belong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what-
Yeah, I mean, we have, everything else is shared space, but our rooms are private. Yeah.
Anything more you want to say about that particular
Well, I think
issue?
this is helpful to know. To me, this feels like a very big, either expectation or a hidden expectation or a misunderstanding, because to me, it would have felt ugly to put something on someone's floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
knowing that makes a huge difference, and, you know,
Yeah.
knowing that your preference would be to put things in a pile outside your door, that's really helpful information. Just in the future, if this were to happen again, then I would know better, oh, okay, she prefers stuff be piled outside her door rather than me going into her room, which feels like, you know, an invasion.
Yeah.
Invasion.
Yeah.
Okay.
One other thing on this is I want to, Aaron, if you're willing to, when Laura first started talking about this, walked into the room, you're preoccupied with the idea of having to do this project. What was the impact on her as she described it? Coming in and finding that there was no space for her.
Right, yeah, well, frustrated, additional stress, you know, I heard you say. Yeah, that it was just maybe a last straw.
Yeah, that maybe that is what that felt like, and kind of taking that drastic action of moving things into your room. Maybe it was a result of feeling like it was kind of the last straw. Yeah, I think that's well said.
Well, in the earlier conversation when you were talking to us, we talked about, or you both expressed the value of open communication and the wish to have more open communication. And let's start with Ariana. If you could tell Laura or explain to Laura what open communication means to you.
Yeah, for me, it means like talking about what's happening, you know, in the moment, so that resentment doesn't build up. You know, if something's happening, I want to know about it so that I'm aware and I can make changes if I need to. So yeah, open communication is just being able to say like, hey, you know, this is what's happening, this is how I feel, I'd like to talk about it, you know, both ways. You know, and I know you said that you had mentioned it to me, you know, you'd say like, hey, can you do your dishes? And then, you know, like you ended up doing them before I even had a chance. You know, I met my partners a lot, right? And so I'm not here every night at our place. So like my intention is to do it when I get back, and a lot of the times it's already done. So like you don't even give me the chance to do the thing that you're asking me to do. So yeah, so anyway, I mean, I know I said more than about communication, but yeah, I think just talking about what's happening before it gets to that level where, you know, we're so upset that we're not talking or we're getting resentful or, you know, you call in the property manager.
Can you repeat back to Ariana what she's expressed?
I think what I heard you say, Ariana, is that you appreciate open communication in the moment, that way we avoid things maybe getting suppressed and bubbling up later in big ways.
Yeah.
I guess I would just add to that I'm always really concerned about my capacity to participate in conversations like that, and I wish that we could have those moments, but add, is now a good time, right? So that, because I'm sure your days are similar, where sometimes I come home and I'm so wrung out that in that moment to sit and discuss something about the house just doesn't feel possible, or I'm not gonna be able to express myself well. So I would love to be able to have those moments, but I wish we could just put, can we do this now? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I'm the kind of person that needs a little bit more predictability, so just kind of checking to make sure that now is a good time, or even the right time to talk about these things, so that I can show up with my best capacity, and not at the end of a day where I'm not gonna have the ability to participate well, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so you'd like me to check in with you first if it's even a good time to talk?
Yeah. And then I can tell you yes or no, and if it's no, then, I would put the responsibility on myself to say, let's figure out a good time when we can. And that way maybe we both feel assured that it's gonna get addressed, but not at this particular moment.
So that's jotting down the suggestion. Excuse me. So when we talk about how you want the communication to go in the future, we can come back to that and maybe include that if you'd like.
Well, yeah, and I'm wondering too, like, if let's say I forget to ask you if it's a good time. Like, can you also say, hey, now it's not a great time, can we talk about it, whatever, tomorrow in an hour?
Yeah, as long as that doesn't feel like it's affronting.
No, I mean, previously my experience has been that you just kind of shut down and then leave, either the conversation or the room. And so if I know that, you're hearing me, that I want to talk about it and you're willing, but now it's not a good time, then I'm perfectly willing to wait.
Okay.
As long as I know that, yes, we can talk about it soon, or, we can define what soon is, but, that you're willing to have the conversation.
I'm always willing, but I do think for me timing is important. I've just learned that about myself over the years, that some days I have capacity and other days I don't, and I don't want to make things worse by trying to have a conversation that I'm not prepared to have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
Well, related to that communication issue, I know that you both talked about this communication with the manager, and I'm wondering if there's anything around that you want to clarify with each other?
I just want to say that I didn't bring him in. I think for me, I went to him not knowing where else to go. I wasn't sure. I mean, this is only the second time I've ever lived in a rented place, so this is still kind of new for me, having a roommate, and I really wasn't sure what the property manager could do. And when he initially asked me what was going on, it just kind of became a venting session. And then he came up with, he's like, oh, I think you two should go to mediation. And I didn't even know what that meant or what that was, but he just seemed to like, right away, this is what needs to happen. And I thought, oh, maybe this is what people do. So I didn't go to him to try to bring him in. I more went to him to try to figure out for me, what should I do next? And then it just sort of took off on its own path, with my not realizing that's what was going to happen. I certainly didn't know he was going to suggest this. I didn't even know what this was.
Well, what do you hear, Ariana? What's your understanding of what the intent was, and then any questions you have around
that? I mean, I hear that your intent wasn't to like have somebody else, like to bring him in, and that you didn't know what else to do. I hear that. I mean, I have my own thoughts and feelings about it, and wonder, if you realize how that impacted me. And that despite, that may have been your intent to just talk to him and vent, but what really happened is, he was brought in, and that was the next communication I had, from the property manager.
That surprised me too. I didn't know he was gonna contact, he didn't say anything like that to me. And I didn't go to him to vent, to be fair. I went to him to see if I could get some suggestions around what to do, and it turned into a venting session. And that's when he went to, I have the solution, and I was like, okay.
But you knew he was suggesting mediation.
Right.
And that somebody would contact me about that.
I knew that. I didn't know. I thought maybe I would talk to you about it, but before I could do that, you came to me and said that you had gotten that contact from him. I didn't realize it was gonna happen that fast. I really didn't. I thought maybe it was something you and I would talk about. I didn't know he was going to reach out to you so quickly. He was on it, which I was surprised, really.
So you were intending to talk to me about it?
About the suggestion of
About
mediation?
mediation?
I was, yeah. That's how I thought I had left it with the property manager, but he must have taken something else away from that conversation, because my understanding is he contacted you, I think it was even the next day after he and I had talked.
Ariana, what else, if anything, do you want to share with Laura about the impact of that on you?
Yeah, I mean, it was, as I said before, like, it was really surprising. It was embarrassing. Yeah, it really bothered me.
Yeah.
You know, and it was confusing, like, I didn't understand, like, all of a sudden, you know, here we are in our situation, there's a lot of tension, next thing I know, I'm getting a call from the property manager.
Yeah.
Saying, like, suggesting mediation.
Yeah.
So I didn't know you went and talked to him. So it was news for me, you know, I had no notice, and then this was the next thing I got. And so it seemed like, honestly, it seemed like you were avoiding the whole thing, and you just wanted something else to deal with it.
Yeah, that certainly wasn't my intention. I literally was just trying to think of who else I could talk to about what to do in this situation, and then it just kind of flipped on me. And yeah, I mean, I could see how that would be abrasive or abrupt for you, not having any idea that he and I were even talking.
Yeah.
But like I said, he didn't share any of that with me, that he was even going to reach out to you. I didn't even know he knew how to reach out to you, but I guess obviously he must have contact information. But that's not how I envisioned that going.
What did you hear Ariana say was the impact on her? Sorry.
Okay.
The impact on
That
her,
she
about
felt,
that you felt.
You felt, what was it? You felt embarrassed and something else.
I was surprised.
Surprised and embarrassed that he would reach out to you that way.
Well, yeah, I just thought that was the next thing that happened.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, you know, I'm getting a call from the property manager as if I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, it almost felt like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like you heard me say before, like tattling, you
Yeah.
know.
I can
With
see how
no
you would
notice.
perceive it that way,
Yeah.
but that certainly wasn't how I thought it was going to go.
Mhm.
And I've heard you say multiple times that you can see that when she's expressing feelings about this situation with the property manager. What exactly can you see or do you understand from her perspective that she's communicating to you?
That it was a surprise to get a phone call from the property manager. I don't, that's not what I had in mind when I went to him. And I could see how it would be surprising, but I don't think you and I had seen each other for at least 3 or 4 days prior to that, and then suddenly you get a phone call. I recognize that would be surprising.
And unpleasant.
And unpleasant,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But again, that's not how I thought that was gonna go.
I get that,
Yeah.
but the real world, the fact was that was
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
And you went to him and then you got the ball rolling for this.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I mean, I hear that wasn't your intent, and I really want you to understand, like, what that action ended up meaning for me.
So I fully understand how, you're feeling about me going to the property manager. And you know what, you're right, that maybe there was some part of me that felt like if I went to him, he would just deal with it and I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. And I'm sorry about that. That isn't the right way to go about those situations. But in that moment, I feel like that was what I felt like was the easiest thing for me in that moment.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that and acknowledging that. I appreciate it, and I can understand that. I can understand not wanting to deal with conflict.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not fun.
right.
Ariana, how does it feel to hear an apology?
Actually,
Can you
it
tell her?
feels really good. Like I could, yeah, like there's some like relaxing in my body, and I feel more open to moving forward with you and talking about what we can do. Yeah, actually that meant a lot, thank you. Yeah, and I'm sorry too for, like, I honestly didn't really understand like how much of an impact this was having on you. Yeah, so, you know, I acknowledge my part too, and I'm sorry for the, you know, additional stress that it caused you.
Thank you.
Well, we're hearing a lot of some clarity on some issues, some clearing of the air, apologies, a desire to move forward, to maybe talk about you've mentioned some ideas for moving forward in terms of communication and maybe some basic house rules. So you've made some suggestions around those, and I'm wondering if you're ready to move on to talk about some more specific solutions.
Yeah, I think
that
so.
you wanna-
Yeah, I think so too.
You're ready to go there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And keep it in mind, if you want these in writing, we can do that. But first, we're going to talk about what your proposals are, if
Okay.
you will, in terms of, what about, maybe we start with communication. How would you like communication to go in the future?
Also, I want to take the time to really congratulate you for getting to this point, because this is hard work, and not everybody gets to a point where they can, listen to each other and apologize and recognize the difference and the new information and see the other's perspective. So that's very important to recognize. And then also, is there anything else before we start to look to solutions? Is there anything else that there's anything else you want to bring up, or anything that needs to be said?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
But I do have a thought about the communication, because I do think that's important,
Yeah.
that we have that feeling that we can talk to one another. And I want you to feel like I am always happy to have conversation with just that one addition of is now a good time. And if we can add that in, then I think that would really help me feel like I can be prepared to hear you and to really give you the attention that you deserve. If we can say that that's maybe a way that we would approach having conversation.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I'll certainly try to remember.
And if you forget, I can say that, oh,
Right.
you know what, can we do this later or tomorrow? Yeah.
I wonder too if it might be useful to just have schedule a regular check-in. I mean, I know we're both super busy, but maybe we could find a regular weekly time to just check in for 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, that would be nice, yeah.
Just so that if there's anything that's coming up and we
Right.
don't have a chance to talk
Yeah.
to each other,
We know that time is
we know
protected.
we have the time,
Yeah.
and then we can just sort of check in, see how things are, if
Yeah.
anything needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I think that could work. And the trick will be finding that time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe if we look at our schedule.
Yeah,
I was going to ask if you wanted to talk about the time and the date that might work best for you.
I think
Now,
we'll
or
probably
you
have to, I know I'll have to look at my schedule.
Yeah, same.
But I think we can work that out.
I think so, yeah. I feel like that's a conversation we can have.
Mhm.
But I do want to say that, I'm sorry that it offended you that I did the dishes before you had a chance. But I needed the pan, so I thought I'm just
Yeah,
going to clean it so I can use
understand that.
it.
Yeah.
And maybe I didn't need to do all of the dishes, but I felt like, since I'm already going to wash this pan, let me just do everything that's here. I don't know, but maybe that was overstretching on my part to do that and, maybe just clean what I needed and go from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, maybe we could talk about, how long might be acceptable, or how long might work, if I can't do dishes every day, would the next day, 24 hours?
Or is there some dishes that you feel like you could do right away? If you know that it's something that we share, we both use that one
Yeah.
egg pan,
Yeah.
let's make sure the egg pan's clean, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just some of the things that we both regularly use.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely do that, knowing now, how it affects you.
Yeah.
And that you have to spend more time to clean something that you want to use. Yeah, if it's something like that, a
Okay.
pan or a pot,
Yeah,
as opposed to just my plate, which we
Yeah.
have plenty of.
right.
Then yeah, I can definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe, I'm just thinking, if there's a time when, I don't know, something is going on or things are crazy and I can't get to it, I can let you know. Hey,
Okay.
I can acknowledge, I left the dishes, I didn't have time right now, but I'll be back,
Yeah.
at this time, and I'll do it then.
That would be really nice, actually, because then
Yeah.
knowing that it's on your radar and
Yeah.
that you care.
Yeah, no, I do care.
Really
Yeah, I do
nice.
care.
Yeah.
I don't want to stress you out,
Thank you.
and yeah, I don't want to upset you.
Yeah.
I want us to live together peacefully, and
Thank you.
I want for both of us to be able to relax,
Yeah.
in our home.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of willingness to work through this, so this is wonderful, because you've done a lot of work today, and you're coming up with some ideas on how to make this work. So what I've heard so far is you want to communicate directly with each other and ask for permission, check in, is this a good time? And say, this is not a good time, if it's not a good time. And then you want to set up a regular check-in, maybe once a week.
Yeah.
You're going to check your respective calendars and find a time when that works for you.
Yeah.
And then we started talking about the house rules, particularly the dishes. You know, like clean up the egg pan or whatever is in short supply.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
give that priority and
Yeah.
communicate when you can't get to it.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
far you're.
And I'll also, like,
Okay.
I won't leave my shoes, like, where you can trip on them.
Thank
You know,
you.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shoes and other personal items, that's kind of the other area that you brought up.
Yeah, and
Coats and jackets and things.
Yeah, and maybe we could talk about either now or later, maybe in our check-in, like, maybe there's a spot where if I can't put everything
Yeah.
away, because this goes here and that goes there, like,
Yeah.
maybe there's a spot that wouldn't bother you, where I could just come in and like dump my stuff.
I don't know that it's bothering me per se, but it's definitely just kind of occupying the space that I think we're meant to share. But yeah, I think we could easily find, in fact, I'm thinking by the front door, there's that big area between the front door and the wall that nothing's there. Maybe we
Yeah.
could even put like a cute table or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
to set stuff on.
Or a basket,
Or a
table and a
basket. Yeah,
basket.
yeah, that's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
And is timing an issue with that? Like things will be always put in that bin or they will be picked up within 24 hours? Or just kind of
Well-
is timing something that you need? You may not need that if you
Yeah.
have the bin there.
Yeah, I mean, my intention or my vision is that it's there temporarily, you know?
You mean the stuff in the bin?
This stuff,
Yeah,
yeah, because
yeah.
it's like my shoes, my jacket, my bag, like,
Yeah.
I just wanna come home and like
Drop it.
drop
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
But I need that stuff and I'll use it again, so
Right.
for me, it's pretty temporary, but we can definitely talk about that.
Okay. Temporary being in that space.
Yeah.
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 I think if it's in that space and then it's not in the way, then it's
Right.
not a big deal. You can
Okay.
be in that space as long as you need it to be,
Okay.
just because it's out of the way, you know, which is great.
Okay.
Just to summarize the communication part of it, you both you agree to ask if it's a good time.
Yeah.
And that was really a major component of it. Was there anything else to kind of flesh that part out a little bit more?
Not for
You
me.
know, maybe it would be nice to text a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
You know, especially if something's coming up in the moment for you, you know, you can always just text me and
Okay.
say something you noticed, or you can maybe ask about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would enjoy a little bit more texting.
Okay.
Just to like stay in contact.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That seems easy to be done.
Yeah.
And you both sound like your lives are so full, you may not see each other.
Yeah, I mean, then that
Yeah,
happens.
So
that does
maybe
happen,
yeah.
texting when you can't communicate
Right.
directly in person.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you're both okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, anything else? So you said you wanted a written agreement, so I've been writing this down, and in a minute, I'll give you each a copy so you can look at it and we'll sign it, and,
Thank you.
yeah, so.
I know there's you mentioned earlier that if we want the agreement to be shared or disclosable to other people, that there's a part in there. And
Mhm.
I'd really like this to just stay between us. I
Yeah,
don't know how you feel.
that's
but-
fine with me. Yeah, I don't think there's really anyone we would need to share
Right,
it with,
okay.
so that's fine with me.
Right, okay. So this agreement is confidential between just the two of you,
Okay,
unless you check and initial this particular box in the
Okay.
agreement.
okay.
So you can just sign it, and it just becomes kind of a, something to memorialize when you
Mhm.
both agree to. It
Okay.
doesn't have to go any further than
That
that.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, great.
Another question to consider is if this agreement doesn't work out, what actions do you think you'll take? Or
Maybe in our weekly check-ins, we could
Mhm.
point to something that isn't working.
Yeah.
Or bring it up in
Yeah.
that kind of protected
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we have regular check-ins,
Mhm.
we'll be able to track, like, is this working?
Yeah.
Do we need to adjust it?
Right, I think you're right.
Yeah.
and your regular check-ins are once a week, is that what?
I would love to
That's
do.
what we're working towards.
Yeah, I would love to do
Yeah.
once a week. You
Yeah.
know, with our schedules, it might be every other week, but
Yeah.
I think
start with once a week.
Yeah, I think if we start with once a week, that would be really helpful in just sort of maybe learning better about each other and,
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So as soon as you know, you said you're going to check calendars, so
Yes.
that's going to be left open.
Yeah, for now.
For your first meeting, you can decide some of those
Mhm.
things when you'll meet next.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both so much. You did an amazing job, and
Thank you.
You've come to a place where you can look forward to living in the same place with some sense of ease and comfort and reduce the tension in your home, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate you taking the
It's a pleasure.
time. Thank you, it's been a privilege to be part of your conversation.
Yes.
Thank you both
Thank you so
for
much.
helping us with this.
Yes.
This feels a lot better.
It
Thank
does,
you.
yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you.